Moving on now to our debate. Well, after drones, now Manipur has been hit by a long-range rocket in which one person has been killed and 6 were injured in these attacks, which were fired by the Kuki terrorists in Manipur's Bishnupur district. One rocket targeted the house of former Manipur Chief Minister Mairembam Koireng Singh in his house in Moirang. Additional security forces have been deployed in the area and combing operations have also started to nab the militants. Meanwhile, all educational institutions have been shut and tensions are at large at this point in time. This was the second rocket attack today by terrorists in the same district, and after 2 rockets were fired from an elevated position in the nearby hills in neighbouring Churachandpur district, dominated by the Kuki tribes. The police said that no one was injured in the morning attack, though 2 structures were damaged. And the range of the rockets that hit the valley area this morning was estimated to be over 3 kilometers. This is the first time rockets have been used in Manipur since violence erupted a few months ago. Earlier, terrorists used armed drones to attack civilians and police, but now it seems the game is escalating. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is DGP B.L. Vohra, terror security expert. Also with us on the program is Major General Sudhakar Ji, defense expert, joining us on the program. Mr. Pao Jacob Guite, president of the Kuki student organization, also with us on the program. Last but not the least, Dr. Homin Tangjam, Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, member of that, is also joining us on the broadcast. General Sudhakar Ji, I'll begin with you, sir, if you're there with us. General Sudhakar Ji.
Yeah, I'm there.
Well, sir, so far, like I said in my opening monologue, we were concerned about 2 communities fighting with each other, using traditional weaponry, perhaps conservative weaponry to, take out their frustrations and animosity. But now it seems that we are dealing with a different animal altogether. When rockets are deployed within a state, when rockets are deployed, within a certain area, it leads us to many questions. This is no longer about Manipur, sir. This perhaps has graduated to a national security matter, because the big question that comes up, sir, is where are these people getting this ammunition from? Who is supporting them morally, financially, and technologically and logistically as well? And why has it gotten to this point, sir?
Yeah, Vinit, good afternoon. Thank you for getting me to your show. And excellent question you have raised. So let me tackle them one by one. First and foremost thing, as per me, the response matrix should how to build up a kind of a local self-defense. The local self-defense is very, very important so as to ensure safety and security of the people around. First course of action, as per me, is to identify accurately where the launch pads are, where are they coming from. To the best of my understanding, they are between the range of 8.5 to 14.5 kilometers. The direction also has been to an extent ascertained by the domain experts on the ground. And if that be so, there is a requirement to fly a special aircrafts or platforms which will enable us to carry out effective surveillance and pinpoint the location from where these things are coming. Effort should be on to carry out effective surgical operation to neutralize or at least to apprehend these people and carry out interrogation so as to further lead us to the answers which you have just outlined the questions for. Number 2. Now the question is about what you have asked. Where are they coming from? Right from day one, last year, ever since there has been debate in the NewsX, I have always been maintaining there is much more than what can actually meet the eye or what is meeting the eyes. So therefore it goes to say that there are bigger forces beyond the Kukis and Mai Tai. Kukis and Mai Tai, I do historic kind of a problem which has been existing, but despite that problem, there has been peace and lull in the conflict zone. There have been peace for almost about 9 years. So why is it that such a thing has abruptly happened in 2003? So that must lead us to which are the forces which are acting, and the fingers are pointing to a couple of actors, multiple stakeholders. Number one, I have always maintained that Thucydide trap has always suggested that any established ruling power or a superpower will not be happy or allow any rising power to come up to its level of capability. So where does it point us to? It definitely points us to the existing ruling power in the world order today. People are not happy with India, therefore they will carry on continuing these kind of activities so as to dissipate our limited resources and tire us down at different places. This is at the global level. Regional level, I personally feel that China is the elephant in the room. Without a second thought, China has got interest to deny the operationalization of Act East policy of India because of many geopolitical issues that is attached to it. China also wants to carry out its safe and secure operationalization of its CMEC, China-Myanmar Economic Corridor. So the question that still remains unanswered is, where are these rockets coming from? To my mind, these are being supplied from across the border, that is Myanmar and China border. They are readily, easily and available at cheaper rates. Really is the name of the place in Yunnan province. They are being negotiated for lesser prices. As we know that the Golden Crescent has gone dry, relatively dry this year. Perhaps the Golden Triangle is actually offering drugs at a cheaper cost. That is easy money available to the people. They are buying the very, very little weapon systems from across the border, from China, cutting across Myanmar, coming onto the Manipur border, which is open absolutely. There are no fencing, nothing. They're coming into Manipur side from the hillside of where they're dominated by the Kukis. These places are being used as launch pads, and they are able to launch these crude, I'd say, platforms which are being easily assembled in Myanmar. So where else it is going to take us to? Is it just only a little trigger, or does it have the potential to go ahead with wider ramification? I personally feel that it is going to intensify deeper and with longer ranges. We are going into target and also generate something that we have experienced in Jammu and Kashmir. It could be pushing the Maitai out of the valley floor. It could be a direct attack against the Hindus. I'm sorry, being a military man, I don't want to go into that aspect, but that is how my independent research indicates, that unless we are careful and carry out timely action to neutralize the place from where it is actually coming. Number two, to intercept the movement of this particular arsenal or the warheads coming from. And number three, to choke the money laundering or the money which is being actually used to actually carry on with this particular kind of an exercise from unknown places and towards the hillside onto specific targets. There is an agenda behind this which is not visible as of now. But as the time passes by, Vinit, I fear there are going to be very deeper kinds of manifestation of one tribe against the other one, and finally taking or assuming the proportion of a particular group of people, maybe from either Hindu or the non-Hindus, moving out of this particular valley. Back to you, Vinit.
Those are serious concerns that you raised, sir. Let me also get a reaction on what you have said from DGP BL Vora as well. Mr. Vora, are you equally concerned about the number of reasons why instability continues to haunt Manipur, and the complications and the intricacies are such that no definite solution has come forth to placate the situation?
Indeed, this situation is really very serious. This is a dangerous escalation, the use of rockets and drones. Drones, of course, have been used by established people. If you're having in Russia, Ukraine war, the governments are doing, or in Israel, Hamas and all, which are established players. Here now, what they have done, see, it's going to give ideas to many people, to other militants in the northeast, even to Meiteis, for example. It might give to the militants in J&K, to the Naxals, any number of criminals who are inimical to India in various parts of the country and the world over also. It's going to give a lot of signals that today everyone almost can use the drones for this purpose. It's a very, very serious matter. Now the point simply is that why it has happened. Why it has happened is because the finance and all money has come from drug lords. Manipur has been at the tip of golden triangle not now for ages. In fact, it has been there. But because of the crackdown of the military regime in Myanmar, you know, the kith and kin of Kuki's Chin people, they came over, the poppy cultivation increased here in Chodachandpur. The state government took note of it. And the moment they started finding out the details and take some action, the drug lords swung into action. And what did they do? You know, their economy itself is called 60,000 crores. Manipur's economy is about 35,000 crores, is what they're saying. So they put in all the money and they're looking for an excuse. They latched on to the order of the High Court of Manipur, as you know, about considering justice status for Meiteis. The conflict started, but that was only a camouflage. That was a smoke screen, if you ask me. Now, they are the ones who are financing in a very big way. This is number one. Number two, everybody wants a pie in the northeast. China wants it. The Arunachal, they say, are part of China. When Pakistan was being created in 1947, Vineet, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman then had said that Assam is a natural extension of East Pakistan. So Pakistan wanted it. Today also Bangladesh, the thought lingers. It is there. Kukis want a Kuki land. Nagas want a greater Nagaland. Ulfa wants an Assam as a country. And the soft paddling by the center or not taking care by the central government of that area and especially of Manipur. This has created problems. This has helped all the bad elements, if I may use this word. So Northeast is India's soft belly. The point is, and what has happened is it's failure of intelligence agencies, if not the failure of those who are supposed to take action. It is not as if the government is helpless. I think it's time this Indian state fights back with its full might. To begin with, of course, there should be President rule in Manipur. I'm a very strong votary of it today, let me tell you that. And then we have, anti-drone things we have. The army has it, the Assam Rifle has it, the Air Force has it. All this should be deployed. Local police is a problem, of course. It will take time to train them, equip them, but they have to be fit also for that. That is another thing. Also, peace initiatives must be doubled up. This is very, very important. Diplomatic efforts. Politically, I think leadership should be changed. Bureaucracy overhaul should be there. The police leadership overhaul should be there. People should be brought from outside. This is what should be done. I think we have delayed it far too. We have allowed things to happen. And apart from Bangladesh, China, Pakistan, even other states, countries like, as my colleague General Sudhakar said, even countries like USA, everybody wants to destabilize India. Everybody, because they don't want to see India as a rising power. So it's a challenge to the Indian state directly. My last point, I think this Ministry of Home Affairs by itself has a lot of things on its charter. It's time we have a separate Ministry of Internal Security. There's too much on hand on internal security. Northeast, Jammu and Kashmir, you are having a serious problem. Naxals, you are having a serious problem. Cyber crime, you are having a severe problem. Now with the AI, problems are increasing, they are going increasingly more. The communal situation in the country today is a big problem. Immigration from Bangladesh, you can go on and on. It's time that there is an exclusive ministry. This recommendation has been domain. I have been one of the strong votaries. I think it's time now the government, the central government, wakes up from its sleep and gives full attention on priority with immediate effect in all aspects. Unless this is done, Vineet, we are going to see more bad times in the future. Back to you, Vineet.
Right, serious points being considered over here, and Dr. Thangjam, if you're there with us. Dr. Thangjam. Okay, Mr. Pao Jacob.
Hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me?
All right, I'm here.
All right. Well, listening to our previous panelists express the severity and the seriousness of what's happening in Manipur, and the onus on the center as well as the state to normalize things. How far are we from that ideal situation right now, in light of what's happening today?
And I believe the so-called unrest or the violence have raged on for a very long time. It's more than 1 year. And there has been literally no political will to stop it. Being, from the state where the trouble is taking place, I mean, we are totally disturbed. And apart from the national security, dimension that the esteemed panelists have already shared before me, I would like to add that sometimes New Delhi has to consider that small states in North India is also part of India. Until this mindset is changed, nothing much is going to improve here. I'm sorry to say.
That's a big statement that you're
This
making, sir.
conflict-
That's a big statement that you're making.
Yes.
Go on.
This violence is very different from what happened in UP or in Gujarat. It is not a week-long, communal riot or a religious strife. Our gentlemen before me, two of them have already identified that the whole basis of whatever is happening here is because of, they didn't mention the word, but some sort of narco-terrorism is taking place here. The issue started from the issue of illegal immigration, encroachment upon sacred land, forest land, reserve, and Then there was the issue of poppy cultivation. What started from there and what has been happening here has been totally converted into a kind of ethnic conflict or communal conflict. I don't think that is the right word. It is not a fight between the Meitei people or the Meitei community or the Hindu or the Christian. No, it's not a fight like that. It's not a fight between the Meiteis or the Kukis or the Zo community. It is a kind of violence started by militants, fully armed, the evidence of which we are seeing today. And right from day one, there has been concern, expressions that the militants are using sophisticated weapons. Nobody seemed to listen to it. And now it has reached the stage of using drone. That's to equip with, bombs and also missile attacks. It has elevated into a kind of conventional warfare. I'm sorry to say that again. And people say, or the New Delhi has been saying that more than 70,000 central paramilitary and the army forces has been already sent into Manipur. What have they been doing? All right, there is a kind of, combined security system. There is a central command. And in the central command, imagine there is a gentleman who is a, military retired officer. A police officer dictating an army officer to do certain things. I don't think that would hurt the ego, and such command system or structure hasn't worked. To add to it that the Chief Minister of Manipur is not a part of that central command. It is good that he's not there, so that the central command structure can be given a neutral kind of image. But it's highly disturbing. We are hearing about clashes at the border in which the militants are involved, not one or two, but from different communities. And in Myanmar, conflict is raging. Bangladesh somehow has come under military rule, again not. But what is happening in Manipur is, I'm sorry to say, it's really unfortunate. Being a teacher.
All right. Let me in fact get a
This is the
response
beginning.
from General Sudhakarji on what you had said when you opened your statement. General Sudhakarji, Mr. Pao Jacob has made a strong point that if a part like Manipur is not considered an integral part of India, then it will meet this fate. I personally feel, as a citizen of India, this to not be true. But why are we seeing these anomalies in Manipur? Where do you stand? I'm sure this is also a sensitive topic for you, sir, because we are talking about an Akhand Bharat here.
Vinit, much at the cost of my own sentiments, let me respond to this question. Yes, he's entitled to his pie of these feelings that he has expressed. I totally agree with him. Anyone in his place would come to the same conclusion. You see, there are certain things which are visible, certain things which are invisible. A lot of actions is taking place. I also making comment. I'm privy to some, but not privy to all the activities. But there is nothing that has happened in the Indian subcontinent in past 76 years, which has not been contained in a reasonable time frame. I tend to agree with what DGP Saab has said, Vora Saab has said. I tend to agree with the previous speaker. You see, I am, as a military man, I don't know, I'm siphoned off with any kind of a wise response to the question which he has raised. Anyone in his place is bound to feel the same way. But it is not so. In times of criticality, times of crisis, India as a civilization has known to galvanize all its attributes and put up the best foot forward and find a solution. Here is not the issue of the cookies and Mai Tai. I have been making this point right from day one, Vinit, if you recall. Cookies and Mai Tai, they have lived through ages. It's a historical problem. They know how to adapt and adopt to each other. There are technical and non-technical issues. There are legal issues for which I am sure our country, which is emerging as a global power in times ahead, will find a solution. The bigger challenge is that the rivalry which is taking place is between USA as a superpower and China. That's why I have shown that book in your channel, in your program, Vinit, The Great Game East. Okay, so those people who have read the book, neither USA will allow China to have a full role, full dominance in this particular sector, nor China is going to allow US to come inside. But at the same time, we also must understand that the axis of interest of China and India are intersecting at some point, thereby creating a conflict zone. So what is the solution then? The solution is going to be, firstly, as per my opinion, the focus is to shift. We know there is an extended standoff. We know there is a revival of the proxy war south of Pir Panjal as also the north of Pir Panjal range. We know there is a problem of radicalization which is flowing out from Maldives. We know there is a problem next door, that is in Bangladesh. So if you join the dots, not study things in isolation, there is a bigger picture which is emerging. We know what is happening in Nepal and what's coming round the corner. We all know it. We know somebody is trying, Sam Dam Dand Ved, trying to penetrate into Bhutan and establish its toehold. That is China, despite being a P5 country, permanent 5 of the Security Council. So all these things put together, there are bigger things which are happening, that China wants to come into the Bay of Bengal in a big dominating factor. They have put in a lot of money in Bangladesh, 38.5 billion US dollars. Out of 38.5 billion, 27 projects have been completed till last month, wherein $22 billion have been accounted for. You call about the pipelines, call about the national highway, call about the railway line, call about the powerhouses, call about the docking yard for the naval ships and the submarines. And you talk about the day the Sonadia project was denied to Bangladesh, that was the turning point. Many of us may not have heard about Sonadia. You talk about the Anwara SEZ, talk about the Paira port. Okay, so now the Matarbadi port is coming up. Japan has taken over. So there are multiple activities which are going on. Russia has come in a big way for the nuclear sector reactor. So there is a rivalry is rampant in this particular zone, wherein Bangladesh is being developed as a launch pad to penetrate into our neighboring states in 7 states. And also, it is going to put pressure from the southern part of Arunachal Pradesh. This is the same state which China has been claiming that it is the southern Tibet. So if all this is happening, why not India and US are getting together? I personally feel in 21st century, much against what is happening and the attitudinal indifference being shown by USA, these two democracies, they have a lot to do together. We need to get together to address one common enemy.
You have made
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.